Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. I'm still catching up on this backlog of videos I needed to create here. But I've got a question about resumes. I haven't really talked about resumes much in a while. If you've listened to any of my stuff or read my blog posts, you know my opinion on resumes. I think you should use a professional resume writer to write a resume. But I do have some opinions as well on the content and how you should structure your resume. So let me answer this question here. So the question is from Jeff, and Jeff says, "Hi John, I have a possible blog topic for you that I've been trying to find an answer to. Resumes. What should a developer/programmer resume look like these days, and how much detail about past job experiences should be included? Should we be trying to be creative with design and layout of our resume to stand out like you see in a lot of designer, graphic artist resumes, or just stick to some boring format that we've used for years? Would like to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Jeff." So Jeff, here's the deal. A lot of people will probably disagree with me, but I think you should get creative with your resume. I don't mind seeing a resume that looks like a graphic designer's type of resume, kind of creative. I saw one game developer have an HTML5 resume that it was an actual game you could play. That's pretty smart, pretty creative, I think. I don't think people are going to, as long as you do something creative in a good way that's tasteful, you're really not going to get knocked for that. And if you do, then that's probably not the job you want anyway, right? But I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be like one of these super fantastic, like crazy ideas. Don't feel like you're stuck in the old way of doing things, right? You don't have to make a traditional format resume with your experience and all this. You know, it's better to, I think, to make the resume targeted towards the thing that you're trying to do, that you're applying for. So what do you think would make a good resume? What would be the thing that highlights you the best? That's the key. Remember, a resume is really an advertisement for yourself. This is what a resume really is. Think of it as an ad, just like you've seen an ad in the newspaper, an ad on commercial. It's a marketing material, one-page marketing material or two-page at the max for yourself, for you. This represents you. So how do you want to represent yourself? That's the question, and that's the key. Now, you know, at a very basic level, you can have just a regular two-page resume. A lot of developers today will put skills at the top and give themselves like a 1 to 5 star rating on different skills or years experience. Put that in a little bar chart or something. That's pretty cool, and that makes a lot of sense. It's very functional. It's not just trying to be fancy and snazzy, right? It's conveying information in a good way. So I guess what I'm really saying here is that, you know, a lot of designers and graphic artists' resume, they look fancy because they're trying to convey what they can do, but the key thing is about communicating information and advertising for yourself. So if you have something that looks real fancy, but it doesn't convey the information adequately, well, I mean, technically that's not good design, right? That's bad design, and it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to show the best side of you. It's not going to be effective. So you want to find something that is going to, number one, communicate your message as consistently, as clearly as possible. Okay, so that could be a traditional format, but it could be a modified traditional format. It needs to look clean. It needs to look professional at the very least, right? It doesn't have to have graphics and all this cool stuff, right? It can be more like the traditional resume, but it has to be professional looking. That means most of the time, right, if you're sending this out, like a nicely formatted PDF, nicely laid out, looks appealing to the eye, right? It's something that you pick it up and you say, this looks like a nice piece of work, right? That's the key thing that I think is important in the presentation of it. Now, obviously, the content needs to be, you've only got maybe sometimes only a couple of seconds someone's going to look at the resume, so it needs to be eye-catching. The first thing, you know, use headlines, just like advertising, right? It needs to stand out. It needs to really be representative of the message that you're trying to convey. I am, you know, this. Be very specific, have it specialized. Again, not something I expect everyone to be able to do. In fact, you know, now I'll go on to my tangent and say, now that I've kind of given you what my idea of a resume is, don't necessarily take my word for it. I mean, obviously I think my advice is sound, but go to a professional, someone who deals with resumes all day and writes professional resumes, and have them create your resume for you. I'll put a link to someone that I refer for resume writing. But hey, it might cost you $400 or $500 to get your resume professionally written. It's money well invested. It's going to be worth it. Trust me. I did it early in my career. It was well worth it. My wife, when she was getting started, we paid to have hers done. She got twice the salary that she got before then. It makes a huge difference. You've got someone professional. They're going to format it nice. It's going to look good, right? Unless you've got those chops, unless you've got those skills, don't, you're the CEO of your company, is what I always say, is not writing code. Okay? There's a reason why he's hiring you to write code. Why? Because you have the skills to do that. So why are you, as a developer, writing marketing materials, writing a resume, unless you have the skills to do that? You hire that out and have someone write your resume for you. That's what makes the most sense. Again, I talk about that in my How to Market Yourself as a Software Developer course. You can check that out at devcareerboost.com if you're interested. But don't worry, you don't have to get that in order to get the resume advice. Basically, get someone to write it for you. And like I said, if you're not going to do that, then the things you want to look for is conveying a clear message, make sure that it looks professional, and don't worry, it doesn't have to be snazzy, but it also doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't matter which way you go, as long as you're communicating your message very clearly, and it's easy to see what you're about. It needs to stand out, 1-2 pages max. So yeah, so that's it. That's the advice that I have for that. Obviously, one last piece: online resumes are very good. Update your LinkedIn profile, trick it all out, have all the details in there. Same thing with like Careers 2.0 and the Stack Overflow or Stack Overflow Careers, whatever that is. Good thing to do. GitHub is the new resume for open source development. For a lot of developers, having that or Bitbucket repo with some of your work can be extremely valuable, more valuable than a resume in many cases. So consider that. Stack Overflow also as well. But as far as just having a resume, what I told you before really applies. So hopefully that's helpful to all of you out there that are wondering the same question about resumes. If you have questions, if you have comments, leave the comments below. Send me some questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel. Take care.